Okay, so this is a simple visual effects trick that's used before what do you call this? Motion controlled cameras are easily available. Okay, so this is shot using a tripod with manual control. So we have basically Liz here on the left side. You probably know this technique. And then we shot another one where Liz is on the other side. And really cheesy, we're going to bring them together, okay, using the power of garbage matting. But in Davinci speak, we just call it crop lines. We're just going to crop. So how do we get to this where we don't have to work much in post? Okay, so first, make sure you use a tripod. You have to use a tripod because if you're hand holding this, there's no way you would match the shot exactly for this shot. No human can stand without moving like a brick. Even if they move by a hair, you will see that there's a difference in the shot. Another one is that the camera is set to all manual focus. Okay, and the last thing you want is your camera to be auto-focusing while you're filming the two, even though you're on a tripod. The other thing is manual white balance, so that it doesn't do automatic white balance, because if someone passed in front of the lens, it's a reset in white balance. Okay, and then of course manual everything focus, exposure is manual. Okay, but you do this in the time frame of very little time frame, that is. Okay, you don't want, you see the shadow, you're using the sun. That's why if you plan to do this for long periods, let's say you want to put 10 people in there, you don't want to be doing this outside because the sun position would change and then your shadows would not match, because you can't shoot it fast enough if you're putting 10 people in there. Okay, you want to do it with artificial lighting, where you can control the lighting, it doesn't change. Well, hopefully no one changes it, because you'll get screamed at by, what's his name, Batman, uh, Christian Bale. Christian Bale hates moving lights. Okay? All right, so let's decide which one is A or B. It doesn't really matter, right? So we're going to put Liz right here to be on layer A, or video one layer. And then we're going to put N on video 2, or layer B. All right, so how do you plan to shoot this other than those factors I mentioned? Well, you also need to know the length. Okay, some people get confused by this. Let's say Liz's part is only 1 minute long. Okay, but Ann's part right here is 1.5 minutes long. They stop recording Liz after 1 minute because they think, hey, her part is done. But the one that's gonna match that thing is Ann, which is 1.5 minutes. Then you don't have enough footage. Okay, so even though you're done with your part, you're still imagining that the other part is still going on, and you gotta match the length. Okay, and if they're gonna be interacting, you better coach them. Okay, you can have someone, as long as they do not affect the lighting, to be taking the place of the other person, and then so they have someone to interact. Okay, eye level is very good. They need to know that they're looking at each other's eyes. I mean, this kind of things that makes it look like they're both there together, right? So, okay, so let's do this one. The one on top is the one you always see, so this is the one we need to manipulate, right? If I double click this, it doesn't work. I'm gonna click on inspector instead. Right here, okay, we go to cropping. Again, we're seeing the one where there are characters on the right side, okay? There's cropping. I'm going to double click it. It opens up. Okay, so we're going to crop the left to reveal what's at the bottom. Very easy. Here we go. Can't see it yet. There you go. Whoa. 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 All right. And I made sure I got it perfectly lined up on that line right there so we don't see it. But if I go full screen here, we will see it actually. There will be some shadow difference right there. It's a lighting difference. It's very subtle, but it is there. Okay? But there's a solution for that as well. We can feather or soften the edge. Okay, I'm going to exaggerate this so that you see how much it eats away. You see it? All right, so if we just slightly feather that or softening the edge, then that will do the trick. And now here we go. If we play it with our very fast computer, and you get your really cheesy effect of having someone in there. All right, this is on a static camera. No one believes this stuff anymore because the camera is static, right? If you've seen the movie The Nutty Professor, okay, where they have Eddie Murphy, I don't know, 8 or 10 of his character playing male, female, old, young, well, not young. Hercules. All right, I don't know if you remember Hercules, except for Hercules. Yeah, but how do they sell that product right there? Because it looks believable, right? Because there's a motion controlled camera. It's controlled by a computer. So it will shoot one Eddie Murphy character. Then it'll shoot another one precisely, perfectly each time. So when they put them all together, like what we did here, of course, it's not just cropping. Okay, they're using rotoscoping. So when characters goes in front of the other and whatnot. But what sells the product is that it is moving. Okay, the camera is moving. So that tricks your brain into thinking, hey, it's not just static. It's not just. So there's kind of like believability to it. Okay, so it looks a little bit more real. So on this one, we try to kind of do the same thing where we would want to use dynamic zoom right here. A dynamic zoom is a feature on the paid version, I think. Okay, or I don't know. Is it? Oh, it's. Oh yeah, I need to. Sorry, I need to make this thing into a single clip first. Okay, so right now this is 2 layers. All right, in After Effects we call it comping. You do another comp basically right here. So I can just go here and then new compound clip. Okay, what it'll do is I'm just gonna call that one. It'll just fuse it into a single one. So then whatever I do with this, it happens on both. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so on this one I can do the dynamic zoom. I think it'll do it. Okay, right there. So I mean it's really cheesy on the dynamic zoom, but it looks like we're like moving. It's like they're both together. You know what I mean? Okay. Another thing that you can do is you crop in. I mean you not crop in, but you can change the. I'm gonna go here to my turn on my transform tool. Okay. So one thing you can do is if you zoom in slightly, okay, then you have an ability to kind of position it like a fake. You can animate this, a fake pan. All right. Looks cheesy, but that's something you can do. That's the advantage of shooting. Let's say your camera can shoot 6K, but you're only outputting 4K. Shoot your visual effect shots in 6K. You have an ability to do digital fake pans and zooms without losing resolution. Because if you do this, you shot in 4K, you're delivering in 4K, you lose resolution. Because the moment you punch it in, you zoom in a bit, you lost resolution. I mean, it still looks good on this tiny little one, but when we blow this up, you'll see the difference. Okay? So that's why you always want to shoot at the highest resolution that you can for visual effect shots for reasons of manipulating the image after. Even for mastering, shoot it in, let's say, if you're going to deliver only in HD, but you can shoot in 4K, shoot in 4K. It'll be the best looking HD footage you'll have. Okay? You can always downscale. Garbage in, garbage out. You can make big things go small, but you can't do it the other way around because it will look like YouTube circa 2006. And you don't want to watch YouTube back in 2006. Okay? All right, so that's how it is. It's quite cheesy, but you get the point of the of the effect. Okay? It's just to do a crop. Let me turn that off. Okay, and it's just a crop line, but I put a compound clip here. That's why it's a single now. All right, it's single looking, but of course, there's still two footage here, and I can separate that when opening in the timeline. Okay, so all right, that should do it for this one.